Time to start our meeting. I'd like to welcome everyone this afternoon that's in the audience, and note that all board members are present. Our clerk Teresa Lyle, our economic developer Dana Cronkite's back, and our county administrator Larry Barton, and our attorney Will Sturgill is with us. And welcome those that's online listening also. And the first thing on our agenda is a silent prayer, and I'll ask Mr. Barton if he cares to lead us in prayer.
Let's bow our heads. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we come before you tonight, Lord, as we celebrate the Christmas season, Lord. Lord, we just pray for our board members as they deal with county business tonight, Lord, and Lord, just pray for all the residents and all those that are out there that are sick, that are hurting, that are afflicted, Lord. We just pray that you lift them up and comfort them, Lord. Lord, it's all these things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And I believe it's your turn.
Me?
Yeah. So please,
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. The next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes, and we had a public hearing on November the 19th and our regular meeting on November the 19th of 2024. Do we want to approve both of them together?
I'll make a motion that we approve the public hearing and the regular meetings minutes from November the 19th.
Did I hear a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Ms. Slush?
Aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also.
Madam Chair, our next item is going to be approval of agenda. We didn't get that put on the agenda, so.
Okay. I'm looking at the wrong one, I guess.
It was our mistake. We missed that.
Did you miss it? Okay, well, I thought I didn't see
It
it.
is not on.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is a motion to approve the agenda or to make additions. Have you already added that,
The change order,
change?
it is. It's item 6D that was already on there. We shouldn't have the document in hand when we sent out the
Okay.
packet, so. But there should be a
So the
copy on
new
your
agenda's
desk.
got it on there.
It's on your desk. The printed copy, our clerk left a copy for you.
Yeah,
I'd like to make an addition to the agenda.
okay.
I'd like to add, giving our constitutional officers the $500 bonus like all the rest of the employees got.
Where do I put it under other business?
The other business.
It'd be under other business, and we
So
need a
second.
motion and a second and approval to put it under there.
If you change that, isn't the one that made the motion has to amend that or not?
No, this is just to add this to the agenda.
Okay, to add it to the agenda.
Correct.
And we're gonna put it under other business, Mr. Barton?
It'd be item 7B if there's a second for that.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second that we add, on 7B to the agenda to give the constitutional officers a $500 bonus.
Yes, ma'am.
So, excuse me, Madam Chairman, we're not having a closed session tonight?
No, we aren't.
We are, okay.
Okay, how do you vote, Ms. Celeste?
Aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
I guess I as well.
Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I'll vote no. So it passes 4-1 to add it to the agenda. Is there any other additions to the agenda? Hearing none, we need to vote to approve the agenda as presented then, with the one addition.
I make a motion that we approve the agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented with the one addition. Ms. Lewis, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. Okay, the next thing on the agenda then is the consent agenda. This is to approve the expenses, county administrator's report, drug court, community work program, animal control report, fire and rescue report, litter control report, building official report, and sheriff's office report. Do I hear a motion to approve them together or separate?
I'll make a motion, we approve them together.
Do I hear a second?
Aye.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda all at one time. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll start with Mr. Hall this see. How do you vote?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Lutz?
Aye.
And I also. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is public comment, and I'll get Mr. Sturgill to give the rules for public comment. And the public that is listening can also call in at 276-333-0357.
Upon recognition by the chairman, the speaker shall address himself to the chairman, and if at the conclusion of his remarks, any member of the Board of Supervisors desires further information, the member will address the speaker only with the permission of the chairman. There shall be a time limit for each individual speaker of 3 minutes. A representative of a group may have up to 5 minutes to make a presentation. The representative shall identify the group at the beginning of his or her presentation. Speakers are not permitted to donate time to other speakers. No speaker's time shall be extended except by unanimous consent or 2/3 vote of the board members present. Prohibited conduct. Persons appearing before the board will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use profanity or vulgar language, use language which insults or demeans any person when directed at a public official or employee when not related to his or her official duties. However, citizens have the right to comment on the performance, conduct, and qualifications of public figures, make frivolous statements, interrupt other speakers, or engage in behavior that disrupts the meeting, including but not limited to applause, cheers, etc., or engages in any non-permitted conduct, behavior, or speech which interferes with, delays, interrupts, or disrupts the orderly conduct of the board meetings. Engage in behavior that intimidates others, address the board on issues that do not concern the services, policies, or affairs of the county. Thank you.
Anyone wishing to make a public comment? Anyone in the audience?
Madam Chair, fellow board members, Shelley Mullins, Commissioner of Revenue in Dixon County. I'd just like to ask you all, or talk to you all briefly about the potential of solar farms coming into Dickinson County. I think it's be very important that our county and our board draft an ordinance for this. I understand there's potential of a couple solar farms could be potentially happen in Dixon County. It's easier from a taxation side if there's an ordinance in place to be able to enforce it for my position and the county's position as well. And I'd greatly appreciate it if y'all would look into that.
I didn't know one was coming, so.
Well, there's a couple out there that's potentially, and I'd rather see us to be proactive than reactive. You know, most of these companies, they look, and if there's loopholes that they can jump through, they'll jump through that loopholes. And then once they get their feet on the ground, it's gonna be harder to enforce anything or adopt anything. I think it's something, you know, I've mentioned it to Chris, and I don't know if any of you other board members, I've talked to Larry about it. I think it's worthwhile that we have one in place, and if it does come, if it doesn't come, then we're still covered, but I have some pretty good resources. I can't, you know, it could back out and change and never come, but I'd rather see us be proactive than reactive, you know. It certainly means a lot to Dixon County, you know, anything of that nature.
Madam Chairman, I have a question. May I ask a question?
Yes, please.
The taxes on these solar farms would probably be like you would tax equipment, is that?
Well, there's a lot of I've looked at a lot of different localities, it's something similar. A lot of localities have a lot of different things I've looked at Roanoke counties, Poundtown counties, a lot of different counties, but, I've talked to a lot of commissioners in a lot of other localities, and their suggestion was first and foremost to have your county get an ordinance.
An ordinance that says what?
Well, an ordinance that dictates about what they can do and what they can't do. It's just like a coal gas severance ordinance. There's language in Virginia tax code that tells us how to tax the coal industry, but our county ordinance also picks up and another percent. I have to go back and look on that, but that we adopted as well that helps enforce that.
Have you looked at ordinances, Larry, that?
We'd have
or-
to get,
Yeah,
Will
we're
to
struggling
look at
now,
that.
look at that.
Have you and Will looked at those ordinances?
We will.
We will.
The only thing you know, I'm sure we'll have some, because we have so much available land, stripped land and so forth, that's
Correct.
not usable,
Correct.
but the thing that bothers me is that there's not much tax revenue that I know of. And there's not many jobs, so not any jobs hardly come with it. Is that correct,
That
Shelley?
is correct. There's very few jobs, and the potential thing is, if you get in front of this, you get something in place. You know, a lot of these companies are going to be a company that probably is not in Dickinson County, and probably would employ very few people, if any, from Dixon County. So our county needs to, we need to be prepared and do the best that we can to be able to get what tax revenue we can from it to.
I certainly agree with that, because we need to get what we can, but we're not getting any jobs from it or anything like that, and I think they will come, because we just have too much land that's been stripped that's not useful for anything else.
That is correct.
Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Madam Chair, can I ask
Yes,
a question? Which, me and you talked about this quite a bit.
Yes, sir.
The machinery and tools versus, I guess, what they call it, profit sharing, or,
There are some profit sharing out there on some, and I haven't dug into a whole lot of, there are some counties that's into the profit sharing with these solar panels, and it is huge.
yeah, and I think it's like, by state code, I think $1,400 per kilowatt or megawatt,
I don't have that in front of me, so I really can't say exactly.
but yeah, I agree with you 100%. We need to get something in place
Yeah.
to get ready for it.
And I greatly appreciate it and I think it's something to benefit the Dixon County,
Yep.
I mean, I really.
get our attorney to look at it,
Yeah.
We'll
see
look
what
at
he
it.
can do. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Flemings, I didn't see you back there when we approved those agendas. I thought you was downstairs eating lunch. I didn't see you back there, I'm sorry. But I appreciate you being here. And we approved it, do you want to elaborate on it or anything? I'll give you time to do that if you want to.
Just a couple minutes,
Okay,
real quick, you don't mind?
I don't mind at all. I did not see you back there when I approved it. I thought you was downstairs.
That's okay, and like I said, I appreciate the time you give me every month to do this, and it's just for your information. So I think you guys have been gave the reports as well. Looking at the monthly report for November 2024, starting at the top. Like I said, I'm not gonna go over all of them, but if you look at the third one down, protective orders, we served 55 protective orders in the month of November. One extradition, West Virginia, made 47 arrests in the month of November. Had 18 temporary detention order hours. Our deputies drove a total of 26,242 miles for the month of November. I had 47 hours worked by auxiliary officers. Flip over to the other page. Like we had 38 911 hang-up calls. Had 44 assist motorist calls. Again, most of those are KIVs, keys locked in vehicles, most of them. 20 BOLOs, be on the lookout for most of that's intoxicated driver usually. Looks like we've done 368 church checks for the month. Served 438 civil process papers. Looks like I had 21 domestics, 15 escorts. Looks like we had 433 patrolling checks. Like I said, that's when we go out and we just do extra patrols when somebody wants us to check their house, check their residence, check their street. 99 request officers, either in person or by phone. Most of them are by phone. 37 traffic stops. 27 suspicious person, vehicle, or activity. And the real time consuming part, as I've talked to you before, these TDOs and ECOs, Richie can tell you, we spend a lot of time sitting in the hospital waiting rooms, waiting to take these mental health trips. But it looks like we had three. Had one went to Newport News. Had one went to Bristol. 2 trips to Newport News, I'm sorry, and 1 to Bristol. And on the next report, you'll see that we took a trip to Petersburg 3 days ago. Left at midnight, got back. 2 officers had sent 2 officers, got back at about 1 o'clock the next day. So it was a long day for them, but. And attached here, and occasionally I try to send Larry the mileage report for November, so you guys can see what kind of mileage is on our vehicles and how we're accruing mileage. I mean, it looks like right now we're in pretty good shape, and I want to thank the board for that, because this is the best shape we've been in vehicles in years. And Richie can tell you, even when I worked at the sheriff's office the first time, we've came a long way with vehicles, and we appreciate that. We really do. Looks like got a couple, 1, 2, 3, over 150,000 miles. For the most part, the majority of them are under 60, 70,000, which is excellent. And that's it. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeremy, for what you do. And I apologize for not seeing you back there when we approved that. Anyone else for public comment? No phone calls, right?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Last call for public comment. I have a motion to close public comment, or do I have to have a motion or just close?
You can just
I'll
close.
just close public comment then. And no one called in either. So the next thing on the agenda is Clintwood Rescue Squad. And who's gonna be the spokesman for that, okay?
Madam Chairman, board members, I'm Brad Fleming. I'll skip the long introduction. I know all you all and you know me, so just want to start out by saying appreciate every one of you for the work you do in our county, and we thank you for keeping us going, keeping us functioning, and doing what you do. I'm here as a board member of the Clintwood Rescue Squad, and I'm also here with a couple other board members, DJ Wright and the director, Nathan Mullins. And I'm not going to take up a whole lot of time tonight. First of all, thank you for putting us on the agenda and giving us the opportunity to speak. But my goal here tonight is to start a conversation that we hope that will continue and that we can sit down and come to a resolution on. Just want to put a couple of thoughts in your mind. We have a rescue squad here in town, Clintwood Rescue Squad, as well as some other ones in the county. And if you'll take just a moment to think, I tell I'm a dad. My children are grown, and I've told my children all of their lives that never disparage anybody's job. And I know that you all feel the same way. If somebody is working and earning their keep, pulling their own weight, I don't care what that job is, that's good, and we applaud that, that people are doing that. So what I'm about to say is not to disparage anybody's job or career, but if you'll think for just a second, we have kids who are putting pickles on hamburgers, who are making more money than the people that we entrust to save our lives whenever we need that. And if you'll think again for just a second, there's coming a day, and I know you all are smart, and people sitting out here are smart, nobody's getting out of here alive. We understand that. And God forbid the day come that we have to call for a paramedic, or we have to call the rescue squad. There's coming a day to where it's a very real possibility that when you're on Caney Ridge or you're down in the mountain or wherever, that you're going to have to wait for somebody to respond coming from Wise County or Russell County or a neighboring city, Norton, to come and respond to the emergency that you're having at your home. The reason is we don't have the money to properly pay our rescue squad employees. A driver, and I'm going to give you a comparison for just a moment. A driver on the Clintwood Rescue Squad makes $13.50 an hour. An EMT, and I'm not the brightest bulb in the hallway, but that's people who have some knowledge on life-saving skills and that we entrust to perform life-saving acts on our loved ones or even ourselves, make $14 an hour. An intermediate, which is the advanced life-saving folks that work on the rescue squad, they make $15 an hour, and a paramedic makes $17 an hour. You look elsewhere, for instance, ProMed, which is an agency in a neighboring county, their drivers make $20 an hour. Their EMTs make $23 an hour, and their paramedics make $27 an hour. We need folks here to work. Currently, the way that our rescue squad is set up, because of costs and because of wages and because of salaries, they work a 16-hour shift and they're on call for 8 hours. Okay? Most or many other places, as you all are probably aware, those workers work shifts of 24 hours. Okay? Currently, the 8 hours that one of our rescue squad members are on call, which means that they're waiting to go out at any time, they get paid $1 an hour. When looking at, and our squad is understaffed, and looking on how to attract workers, skilled workers, workers who have been through training to save your life and save my life or to save your family member's life, they have to be able to support themselves. They have to be able to make a fair wage. The payroll statistic up until December of this year for the Clintwood Rescue Squad is $230,000. I leave it to these guys, Nathan and Ron Kendrick, and these guys that are very, very familiar with the inner workings of how our rescue squad works, and knowing that transports, when a rescue squad does a transport, the payment for that is substantial. The 911 calls are not enough in order to properly, them alone are not enough to properly staff and to properly pay a rescue squad. They're just not. And we need not only to keep the fine folks we have, and I'm going to tell you, I've met them all, and I've sat down and talked to them. We have, Clintwood, I'm speaking for Clintwood Rescue Squad, we have a very good, very knowledgeable, very caring rescue squad. We have to be able to provide for them to take care of their needs. There's some solutions to this, and all we are asking for as a board and as members of the rescue squad is an opportunity to sit down with you, to sit down with the Board of Supervisors, and let's come up with a solution. Let's come up with a solution on how to pay a fair wage and to pay, for instance, our paramedics or our EMTs in such a way to where they can stay here and they can work right here in Dickinson County in their profession, because one day we're going to need them. And we're going to need them here, and we're going to need them close by, and we're going to need them able to respond. There's a couple of different solutions. One of them is we all know that we get a portion of the casino money, for lack of a better term for it, that's earmarked for first responders. We also can follow the lead of counties like Carroll County or Washington County or Smith County, who have created a a municipal agency that the rescue squad would fall under, and that they can receive county benefits, still operating financially, the way that, or similar to the way that it does, but that's an option. I've spoken with both Ron and Nathan numerous times. $200,000 extra would go a long way in ensuring that our rescue squad is equipped not only with the equipment that they need, but with personnel that would be able to take care of our emergencies, of our transports, of the emergency when one of our family members really needs some life-saving care. So again, my goal here tonight is to spark the conversation, and I'm asking you, as our Board of Supervisor members, to keep that conversation going. Let's work out a solution, because if we don't, we are not going to have a rescue squad. We're not going to have these fine individuals who give up a great portion of their life to help and save people, because we can't afford to pay it. So we're asking you for help, and we're asking you to help us come up with a solution on how to remedy that. Thank you all so much for your time, and I
Mr.
appreciate you.
Fleming, these are discussions that you should bring to our budget workshop, because we're not gonna change our budget in the middle of the stream.
And we're not expecting that, Madam Chairperson.
But these are conversations that should be brought to us at budget workshop.
Absolutely.
And we're coming, we'll schedule those on January 2nd, we're gonna schedule our workshops. So you will be invited to come to any of our workshops that we schedule each department.
Sure.
So you're welcome to come to budget workshop. That's a discussion that needs to be done during budget workshop.
We appreciate that, and we'll be there.
Okay.
And we'd love to sit down with you and work that out. Okay?
Right.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
Okay. He was the only one going to speak for them, right?
Yes, ma'am.
The next item on the agenda is new business, and A is an appointment for the Board of Building Code agenda, and it looks like James Baker's term is up. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
I spoke to James today, and he said he'd be willing to be reappointed.
You want to make it as a motion?
Yes, I want to appoint James Baker on this appeals board.
I'll second that.
Do I have to have I don't have to have it a second. Is there any other nominations for, building code? Hearing none, Mr. Baker is the only one that's been nominated to be put back on the board. Is there any discussion or anything on this appointment? Hearing none, Ms. Suss, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. And the next thing is our health renewal insurance, to renew our health insurance. And we had a meeting with our,
Mr. Green, or...
Mr. Green, yeah,
Yes.
and I'll let you take.
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. Of course, we had an insurance committee meeting. Of course, Ms. Willis is a part of that. We had Mr. Mullins from Behavioral Health, and we had our PSA representative, Ms. Phillips, on that. And thankfully, the cost of healthcare, as, Mr. Fleming alluded to, across the board is increasing. But we are looking at a very good renewal this year. It's going to be less than a 1% increase, about a 0.7% increase in premiums for the county. Of course, this will renew on January 1st. The only change, no benefits are changing, or no deductibles, copays, nothing like that. The only change our broker recommended was changing our current stop-loss carrier, our reinsurance carrier, and that's the carrier that pays claims in excess of $50,000. They put that out to bid, and another carrier, where we're Serious Point now, and BCS Insurance is a little cheaper on that. So you can see our current, what we're paying, the renewal with our current carrier, and then the option one, which is what we're recommending through BCS Insurance. Again, we're still all the same coverage, all the same companies. That's just all on the back end that reimburses us back for any claims over $50,000. But we're asking for a motion to approve this renewal tonight, so.
Do I hear a motion to approve the renewal on our insurance for our employees?
I'll make that motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second that we approve the renewal policy that was presented to the committee, was it last week?
I think it's week before last.
Week
I think.
before last, I think it was. They have a motion and a second, correct? Any discussion on it? Hearing none, how do you vote, Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Mrs. Sless?
Aye.
And I also. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the Dickinson County Health Department. It's a rehab contract change order. No, is that right? No, it's just the Dickinson County Health Department. And Mr.
Yes, hope you got to take that. Madam Chair, members of the board, what you have before you, of course, in your packet is the agreement between Virginia Department of Health and the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors for funding and services for the Dickinson County Health Department. This is the same agreement that we have had, for many years now. There's not really been any changes. Mr. Sturgill has reviewed this document, and it's something that occurs, every November, December. I think we had on our last December packet on how the funding and how everything works with that. But again, there's no changes in how it's currently operating. So our recommendation is that we approve this agreement tonight.
Do I have a motion that we approve the Dickinson County Health Department contract? And it is one that we use every year, it's the same one.
Yes, ma'am.
When I read it, I didn't see any differences in it.
I'll make a motion we approve the contract.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to ask just a couple of
Okay.
questions. This says, this agreement begins July the 1st.
Correct, in section 2, agreement begins July 1st, 2024. And generally, what that is like, again, it's coming up in December, but these terms are being agreed as of July 1st, 2024.
We just received this, after our last meeting, so.
Correct.
And Will looked over this.
So it actually only starts July the 25, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Any other discussion?
Is this a state mandated payments and stuff that we do on this? It's all,
It's all dictated by the state,
so we're not exceeding what the state.
so we are not. And Risa does an excellent job overseeing the health department for us. And as you'll recall, in recent years, I know since I've been here, they've always returned money each year. And I know this past year, they had some money that came back, and we made some repairs on the health department building with that. I think we had to do some guttering, some roof repairs, and, they're very good stewards.
And one
of
year we let them
funds.
do the paving,
Yes, we did the paving one year with the excess
With
funds.
their
We always try to put
excess,
that back
yes.
into taking care of
but
some
they
needs.
usually bring back money.
Yeah, they do a very good job of overseeing their budget, so.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Ms. Sluss? Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Kaiser? And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. Now, the next thing on the agenda is the rehab contract change order.
Yes, Madam Chair, I apologize for the delay in getting this. We just received this earlier today, and of course, you recall this was on our agenda last month, and we were just receiving it today. But what you have before you, though, there's a printed copy at your desk. This is for the Cole Road funding portion of the construction, which would be for the road that was paved from right off of H. Jack Rose Highway down beyond the rehab facility going towards the chip mill. And when we bid everything out, we had quantities, unit prices, and then estimated units. And of course, on our base stone, there was an additional 155 ton of base stone that had to go in from what the estimates were. So the change order is $4,663.50 increase to McFall Excavating for this work. And again, we're just requesting that this change order be approved so we can get that portion closed out of the project, so.
Okay. Do I have a motion that we, do the rehab change order?
I'll make a motion.
Do I hear a second? On the rehab change order?
I'll second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on it? Okay, hearing none, how do you vote, Ms. Les?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker? And Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Hall?
Aye.
And I also. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is to authorize, Mr. Barton and to authorize him to make the payments on our invoices that will come in between now and December 31st.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is standard housekeeping that's done each year because our meeting is early this month. If any invoices come due that we have to take care of by month end, we'll pay them as we usually do, and they'll be included in the January packet, so.
I have a motion to authorize Mr. Barton to make the payments that come in after tonight's meeting between now and December 31st.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second that we authorize him to make payments on any invoices that come in that has to be taken care of. Any discussion? Hearing none, how do you vote, Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
And Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
And Ms. Stanley, or Ms. Les. I'll get it in a minute. Okay, and I also. Now, the next thing on the agenda is the addition that we put on the agenda to give constitutional officers $500 bonus. I like to say those are elected officials, and we normally don't give elected officials the bonus. It was done last year by mistake. We didn't make any exceptions in last year's motion, and usually elected officials do not qualify for a bonus.
How many years have they got that bonus?
Just last year,
I think since I've been here, it's been given, but I think,
it was, it's just 1 year, wasn't it?
no, I think since I've been here, it's been given to them. I don't think we've made any exceptions. I know we had Karen look it up that day that you called, but I think you'd indicated before, there's always an exception made in the past, so.
That's the reason I.
It's like you're giving people that makes 90,000, 100,000 a year a bonus.
And it has been given ever since you've been here,
Since
since
I've been
20.
here, if I'm not mistaken, I wasn't here in 20 when you actually voted on
Yeah,
it, done
yeah.
it since then, so.
We have
21
made
on.
exceptions on those before.
And you may have, I mean.
And it may
sure
not
my
pass,
memory-
but we've made the exception.
I know there was exceptions in the past dealing with part-time employees and certain, I
I
don't.
always accepted them when we done like the raise and stuff too.
Correct,
elected and appointed.
or somebody that's already gotten a bonus previously, like that 1 year, I remember that exception too.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I don't know if I remember any exception to those since I've been on.
It was the year before last, I think, on that one.
It
Yes, I
was.
think it
Okay.
was too. Any other discussion on it?
I just asked for it to be put on the agenda because I didn't want to be the first board to come in here and discriminate against them because they make a little more money than other employees. They still are entitled, I think. That's just my opinion. I make a motion that they give them the $500 bonus.
Do I hear a second?
I'd like to make a comment, if I can, before we go any
Go ahead.
further. Right now, we've got some really good constitutional officers. They're all showing up. They're not required to show up for a lot, but they're showing up every day. I know Mr. Mullins here, he's come in here, you know, and presented us with the solar ordinance, you know, that's something that needs to be done. So they're working diligently to help this county. As far as their salary goes, you know, they do make more than everybody else, and they are elected. So I don't think it's discriminatory to not give it to them. But to my knowledge, every one of them show up every day to work and do their best for the county. So for that reason, I'm going to second this motion.
And you can't vote on it, is that correct?
No, I can. I don't have a.
And
If-
Richard can't vote on it, can he?
Well, if there's not, if they're not getting some sort of benefit from it, if there's not a quid pro quo, if there's, you know, I don't know of anything in the Conflicts of Interest Act that would prevent them from voting on it.
Even though they work for that department, or either their spouse worked for that department, can they still vote on it?
I don't see anything under code that prohibits it. Now,
We vote on all the rest of the employees and they work for us. I don't know if any of them plans on
It's
giving us
not
any of their loans.
directly, it doesn't directly affect
No.
any of us, the employees don't affect any of us. Correct.
And this wouldn't affect me or Chris either one either. I don't reckon Shelley's gonna give me any of his Christmas bonus.
now they couldn't vote on something that they would personally benefit from. So if they were getting the $500 bonus as part of that, they couldn't vote on it for that. But at the same time, I don't see anything in code that would prohibit them from voting one way or the other on that, as long as there wouldn't be some sort of benefit.
Madam Chair, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Have we give them this bonus, to clear my mind, have we given it to them for the last 4 or 5 years?
I mean, to my knowledge, since I've been here, we have. I don't recall making an exception since I've been here, but I think in the past there has been exceptions made in years past. It's not always been given, so.
So, you've been here, what, 3 years?
Yeah, it would have been for the 21, 22, and 23 year,
We have been giving it to them for 3 years.
to my knowledge.
How did that come about in last month's meeting to be exempted from that?
It was just part of the motion that they be exempted, so.
But you made, Peggy.
You made the
Yeah,
motion.
I made the motion, because that's the way the thing was written up. I mean, it came to us already prepared, how to do that, but.
Yeah, Ms. Willis had reached out to me and we talked to Karen to see, what been given in the past as far as
How much money we
exception.
talking about?
$2,500.
$2,500?
Any other discussion?
Well, do we need to be cautious here, and me and Richard abstain? I don't want to get into any gray areas at all.
I think the minute shows that you all abstained last time.
We did, but I was
Yeah.
voting for the salaries for Emily works at
Yeah.
the commissioner's
Yeah,
office.
okay,
This doesn't affect her
Right.
directly.
What I would say is that again, by code, I don't see that there's a conflict as far as there's a personal benefit from a monetary side. However, if you feel like based on that, the position, you feel that, that there is a conflict or an appearance of conflict, then you
Now, that's
you can
that
abstain.
appearance of conflict thing, kind of a gray area kind of thing, ain't it, sometimes?
I mean, again, I'm just going by what I'm directly reading in code. Then issues, what you believe is right and whether you believe that there's an appearance of conflict or not. And again, I don't see anything that directly states that, but at the same time, you know, you're asking whether to be, that's up to you.
Well, we're elected officials and we do not get a bonus. And we cannot take a bonus. Correct?
That is my understanding.
That's my understanding also.
So if I was going to abstain from this vote, I couldn't second it either, right?
I think technically you can still second and abstain from a motion.
So you seconded it, correct?
I did, yeah.
And it's not that I have anything against any of the 5 elected officials. I haven't heard from any of them except for one that I got a Facebook message about, thanking me for not allowing the constitutional officers to have a bonus, but I haven't heard from anybody.
I haven't
But-
heard from any either.
Yeah, I just heard from one. But, you know, to vote to give it, then, you know, that's changing the way I voted last month, or in the way I second it. And it's not that I don't want them to have a bonus, but would all elected officials not falling under what we falling under?
To
That
me, they do. I mean, that's what I think, because we're not allowed a bonus.
You know, I've seen localities exclude constitutional officers from the bonus and also include constitutional
Yeah.
officers from the bonus. So it's been both ways, but at the same time, as far as the Board of Supervisors, I don't think that you
Yeah.
can vote.
We can.
Correct.
How's $2,500 going to rake us over the coals or not rake us over the coals?
With the budget, it's, you know,
Yeah.
no issue.
Is any of the constitutional officers' salary under 90,000?
I think so, I'd have to look, I think so.
I think maybe one of them is.
And as what Mr. Hall said a while ago about him showing up, is an elected constitutional officer not required to work 5 days a week?
No, they can stay on if they want to. They're elected. They probably won't be elected again if they do.
That's exactly right.
Well, some of them stayed home and they got elected again.
Yeah.
I guess I just hadn't stopped to think
That's a
that.
strange law, right?
From my knowledge, right now, all of them are doing a fabulous
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Well,
I think they
I
all.
know they're all
yeah.
doing a good job. If it were me and if I was making that kind of money, I wouldn't expect a $500 bonus. I mean, I did get one comment. I did get an email, that I didn't first know what they were talking about. And then I asked, was that it? And they said yes. And, I can't, for the life of me, I can't understand. If I was making that kind of money, $500 would not be a big deal for me. I mean, I know $500 is a big deal for me, everybody. It is for me too. But so is keeping our budget, and so is being fair to our people. And when you compare making $90,000 to somebody making 28 or 30, it's a pretty pitiful comparison, really. I would, if I was a constitutional officer, I wouldn't ask for it.
Well, I'm not saying that they asked for it, I just think if we're gonna give it to one, we should give it to everybody.
Well, there's a difference between making, I don't know what the average salary is in their offices, I don't know, I'm just guessing. But making that and what they're making, I know they're not asking for it. I don't think constitutional officers are even at, that one was, but I just don't, I don't understand it myself because I would not I would not expect it, let's say that, I would not expect it as a constitutional officer. I wouldn't mind having bonus.
Okay, I think we've had enough discussion on it. We got a motion and a second. And are you gonna keep your second, Mr. Hall?
Yeah, I'll keep the second.
Okay. Okay. I need, we've got a motion and a second. We had our discussion. Ms. Sluss, how do you vote?
Well, not that I'm not trying to be, I will vote, aye.
Mr. Thacker?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
I'm gonna say no, I'm gonna stay with my vote last month.
And Mr. Hall?
And I'm gonna vote aye.
And I vote no. So it passes 3-2.
And it has nothing to do,
It has nothing to do with the person.
it has nothing to do with the person, but this vote one way one month, change your mind, vote another way another month, it just, you gotta stay focused. Yeah.
You gotta stick with it
Yeah.
and not, take, I guess, bribes from other people, not bribes, but, complaints.
Comments, yeah.
Comments from, constitutional.
Well, I sort of disagree with you guys. I mean, you can change your mind. It's not like you can, it's not written in stone that you can't rethink something and change your mind.
Well, I've never taken a bribe from anybody in my life.
It's not a bribe. It's just like somebody had to come to you or you wouldn't have put it on the agenda and ask you to put it on the agenda.
I understand that 2 or 3 of the constitutional officers was upset about it. Nobody asked me to put it on the agenda.
I
Nobody
didn't
asked
know
me.
anybody was upset over it. Just one's all I had heard was upset over
I mean, bribe.
it. No, I spoke the wrong word. I guess complaints is the word. But it's, once I make a decision, I stick with it. I mean, once I make a vote, I stick with it. And
As
I've
far as me and
learned
Richard, we didn't
that
get
you
the
have
vote.
to do that, the years I've been on here. Every vote I
Disagree.
made, if I'd thought about it, may have been different, but once you make a vote and you make a vote, I stick with my vote.
Yeah,
I
now
don't
Karen's
change
got
my
more
mind.
work.
And I agree with that, but that vote kind of slipped over my head. I didn't realize that we was excluding them.
Well, it was very plain in the motion that we were excluding them.
You know, I think we should have got together and made the motion as a group.
We did. Make the motion as a group.
You know, I wasn't included in the
Well,
wording of the motion.
I was not, and I'm chairman of the board, no one notified me or anything that they were upset that we didn't get it. You know, that we didn't give it to the there's not a one of them that asked me about it. But I just think it's wrong with the salary they make compared to what some of our employees make. It's just no comparison, really.
Be a good gesture if they didn't take it.
So, anyway, now we're down to supervisors' comments. I think we've done had them.
We done made
Okay,
'em.
who wants to be first? I'll let Mr. Hall be first.
First off, I would like to congratulate the Ridgeview volleyball team for their state championship. That was awesome. Loved it. Sorry I didn't get to attend, but I'm tickled to death for them.
Watched it online.
Rescue squads, fire departments, everybody, y'all know we're working with you right now. We're doing our best to include you all with everything that we're doing, trying to work this out, trying to get everybody where they need to be. So, it's gonna take a little time, but we're gonna get there hopefully, so. Just keep working together. And Shelley, I appreciate you bringing up the solar thing. I think that's extremely important.
Thanks very
We don't want to wait for things to happen and then be reactive. We want to be proactive. So I appreciate that. And Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas holiday and New Year, and we'll see you in January. And that's it for me.
Ms. Kaiser?
I'd just like to thank all my fellow board members for a good year. I think we have had decent meetings. I don't know of anything that has been major issues or anything. We've plugged along fairly well. Thank everybody who has been in attendance to our meetings tonight and throughout the year. It's been nice working with Chris and Richard, our two new ones, for on board with us this year. My daughter went through surgery real well, done good, came home in 2 days. Out driving now a little bit. She can't drive far, but she's still under the weather, but she's doing good. And just glad that you know, our county sees some progress. We're looking for more progress, hopefully more jobs, more entertainment, or whatever that we can do to help our county grow. And that I've been here all my life. I don't plan on going nowhere, so. But I'm just glad and hope everybody has a very Merry Christmas. Everybody be safe. New Year's. Come back, keep supporting us for the next 3 years.
Mr. Thacker?
I'd also like to congratulate the volleyball team and also the football team. I think we've had excellent representation from our students that participated in the athletics and all the other events that they went and participated in. It's been an outstanding year for them. I'd also like to thank all the board members. This is my first year, and it's been a learning process. I think we've tried to stay focused on the county and the county business, and we do have plans moving forward to help our fire departments and rescue squads, and I think this is the biggest step that we've made in years to help them. It might seem like it's dragging on and taking forever to do, but when you're talking about a lot of money, it takes a lot of time to build that money up in order to help. But they are, my number one priority is first responders. Being one since I was 16 years old, I understand. I've been on rescue squads, I've been on fire departments, I've been fire chief, and what Brad got up here and said tonight couldn't be stated any clearer. When you make that phone call, when you hit that 911, and the people that respond make a difference. And it always comforts my heart to know that we've got good first responders in this county. Are we losing first responders? We are. But everybody is across the United States of America. It's not just our county, it's not just Virginia, it's the country. And we do need to try to do something to help them retain, recruit, and keep people. That when a family member is having a heart attack or a stroke, and I just got out of the hospital over my heart, and I understand the urgency when that call's made. Everybody makes that phone call, and when they hang that phone up, they're looking out the window to see the red lights coming or the blue lights coming. And I've been in that position. I've made that phone call many times over the years, and people always showed up, and I think we got to show up for them. So let's just keep the hard work going, and I hope we wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. And I want to thank all the board members for helping me get through my first year of doing this. That's all I've got.
Ms. Celeste?
I too want to congratulate the volleyball team on winning a state championship. also want to congratulate the Scholastic team for, seemed like they beat the other schools pretty bad. And we got some, not only do we have intelligent athletic students, we have some very intelligent students. I also attended the band concert last night at Ridgeview, which was very good, very impressive. When you hear the band in there in that confined space, they sound even better. And I was very, I enjoyed it immensely. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and I heard something yesterday where it said, you know, grief is something that we feel most at Christmas. I think we think about past Christmases and our family, and I know it's touched everybody here because it touches me. Some worse than others because they're going through grief presently. But I want us to remember people, we do grieve more. I think at Christmas it brings back past childhood memories and people that's gone and left, and grief is a sign of love, how we love. And I want to wish all my fellow board members a Merry Christmas and a good year, and I appreciate the good year we've had working together. And thank you, Chris and Mr. Thacker, for being members that we can talk to and get all of you. I appreciate all of you, and I wish you all a Merry Christmas, and Teresa and Dana and all of our people, I wish a Merry Christmas. God bless you.
I guess it's down to me, and I'd like to say that it has been a good year working with new board members and with the two ladies that come back with me this term. And it's been a good year. We've not had any controversy. We don't always agree, but we don't get upset with each other over it. We disagree, but we're still friends. We all get along good together, and it's been an entirely different year than what I was used to the last 4 years, and I appreciate the confidence that this board's had in me for being chairman this year. We reorganized January the 2nd. I'm willing to serve again, and I'm willing to let any of my fellow board members serve. And being chairman is not an easy position to be in. You're required to go more. You're required to travel more, go to more meetings, and you're expected to be there. And I like to say, I missed the parade for the first time, and I don't know when that I missed the parade. And we had water issues all that day. So we did not get to attend the parade, and I really missed attending the parade. But anyway, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. And it's a busy year, and I see we've got several deaths in the county, and I'm like Miss Celeste, it's hard to lose someone during Christmas. And I grieve with them when they lose someone right at Christmas time, because it's harder and it makes every Christmas harder. And I was telling a lady that helped me clean last week that my dad, and I missed this, my dad turned thanks for the packages under the tree before we ever opened my dad's house. But I didn't tell her about my dad. He'd always babysit for my two boys when we were working, and if there wasn't school or they were out. But Dad taught them how to open their packages with a sharp knife. And if they caught Mom gone, they would open the packages with a sharp knife and tape them back, you know. And after he was gone, I noticed my packages was messed with under the tree. And they said, well, Papa told us how to do it, taught us how to do it. So, but that was a fun thing at our house, you know, that he taught them how to open those packages so nobody would know there's ever been in. Use a sharp pocket knife, and all men carry sharp pocket knife. And my dad lived through the Depression, and I guess that's why he always wanted to turn thanks for all the gifts under the tree before we opened it. And I miss those times. And I like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. And Mr. Barton, thank you, and Mr. Sturgill for all that you do, and also Adam. I always forget to mention Adam, he's back behind me, but I appreciate what Adam does for us too. And I'll bring your gift next Friday.
Need a motion to adjourn?
We need a motion to adjourn if everybody is finished.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
And all in favor?
Aye.
7:12.